Did you know that the Lightning Impact Ultimate attack, the Majub Ultimate, once it's been activated and fired, the actual beam of the attack is, as of right now, the fastest beam in all of Xenoverse 2, as you can see right here. It is unbelievably quick. Now, the reason for this may be because one way you can use Lightning Impact is to repeatedly tap the input when you're using it to charge it up, and then to fire it to do significantly more damage than if you just use it uncharged. But as I've just said, it does take quite a long time to fully charge Lightning Impact to maximum damage. So that could be to balance it, because it takes a long time to actually charge, then the activation is extremely quick. No pun intended, it is lightning fast. There is a unintentionally funny voiceover line in Xenoverse 1 and technically in the Legend Patrol for Xenoverse 2 involving Eric Vale, which I don't think this should have been included, or it wasn't meant to be included. Take a listen.
We don't have much time left. Could you stop those two?
Guys.
Although, as of right now, it's not used in the game, Goku Black does actually have a voice file of him saying and presumably using Kaioken. Same thing for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and characters such as Broly as well also have voice lines of them using or saying Final Flash, and as well as Raccoon using Dancing Para Para, or rather a Dancing Para Para inspired voice line. There is a glitch on Parallel Quest 41 where if you clear it fast enough, the androids, those being Android 17 and Android 18, won't actually appear and join your team to help you, but the dialogue will still continue. Once you defeat Vegeta and Piccolo, future Gohan will appear, and if you then can defeat him quick enough, the androids won't actually have enough time to load in, or rather to join, and instead you'll go to the ultimate finish against future Trunks, and the android dialogue from Android 17 and 18 will continue regardless, even though it's glitched out because you've done it too quick, and they don't actually join your team as part of the "you've got new support incoming" pop-up that pops up. If a character goes for the Dragon Pharaoh grab, which is the grab characters such as Goku, Adult Gohan, Bardock, I believe, as well as several other characters used, it's a very standard grab. If you stand next to the character being swung around, it will actually hit you even if it's a teammate or an enemy on your opponent's team, and it will knock you back and do a tiny bit of damage on you. There's a Namekian in Conton City that had his name change. I'm not going to say what it used to be or even what it is right now, but you can see right here, this Namekian had a slightly different name when the game first came out, and it was changed because it sounded similar to another word which is widely considered to be offensive. You can use the Tri-Beam Super Attack even if you're holding one of the Dragon Balls from the few Dragon Ball Collection missions, and naturally as well, you can also fully charge it like how you would be able to just using the Tri-Beam Super Attack normally. Basic Ki Blasts have no effect at all on God of Destruction Toppo because of his Hakaishin, or whatever we call it, his Destroyer energy, his aura. Keep in mind though that they do technically work on him and it will do damage and stun him and stuff like that if he's not in a position to sort of like protect himself. But if you just spam basic Ki Blasts on God of Destruction Toppo, as you can see right here, they'll just have no effect on him at all. There's a very subtle reference to the Dragon Ball Raging Blast series in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, and I think also technically in Xenoverse 1 as well. You can hear this from completing the final Goku Mentor mission. It's the mission where if you complete it, you unlock the Super Kamehameha Ultimate Attack. Take a listen.
That's enough! I don't think I have anything else I can teach you. Nuts! You really are incredible! It was a raging blast fighting with you!
Modders on the PC version of Xenoverse 2 have been able to, I guess, data mine or what have you, a file in the game which has deflection physics for at least ki-based ultimate attacks, and presumably as well, ki-based super attacks, as you can see right here. It's assumed that these weren't implemented into the game because of how broken it may make things, or just through balancing issues. Apparently, and I may be wrong here, but apparently if you were to do this, it would take away stamina, or rather it would require stamina to deflect. This is absolutely fantastic. This is something that I didn't know at all going into this video, and yeah, this is insane. Wow. Even if both you and your opponent have not limit burst, if you use body change, you then won't be able to limit burst anyway. It will be as if you've already used it, even if you didn't use it before the body change hits. On the PS4 version of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, there is an option to select old Conton City and new Conton City on the title menu. This doesn't do anything. The only reason this was added was because on the PS4 version of Xenoverse 2, they were running out, apparently they were running out of space or memory to save specific online things such as your world tournament records, your TP rank, nicknames and titles that you could get from event rewards, favorites that you've made in terms of time patrols that you've favorited, gift information and stuff like that. You can still log in to old Conton City, but no new events have been on there or will be on there. For example, raids, world tournaments, the Frieza invasion event, as well as the Conton City TV. All of those are in the new Conton City server. Please subscribe to the channel. There's also another character in Conton City by the name of Amy right next to the accessory shop. Now, Amy was the apparent winner of a contest or a sort of like vote that Bandai Namco held just before Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was released back in 2016. This was a bit of a website thing where you could go and create your own time patroller, and the time patroller with the most votes would later be added into Xenoverse 2, and if memory serves correctly, this was added in, I believe, the 4th update, the DB Super Pack 4. If you talk to Amy, you can get her battle suit for your character straight away, right off the bat. But what's interesting about this is that Amy wasn't the actual true winner. There was at least 2 characters that had more votes than Amy. Those characters were a Majin that resembled and was named Mickey Mouse, and another Majin that was named and resembled Pikachu. It's naturally obvious as to why these weren't added into the game. It's just interesting to note that Amy isn't the actual true winner of that specific contest. The Vanisher Guard Evasive was renamed to Punisher Guard. Yeah, sure. It was such a random thing that they changed. I still don't know why they bothered with that, in all fairness, but yeah, Vanisher Guard was renamed to Punisher Guard. If you equip any of the Crystal Raid skills and then go into Photon mode, your character will have the Villainous mode aura, although unfortunately this doesn't work online in a normal 1 versus 1. If you recover on an invisible ground, you can actually recover by using a double-handed backflip. For the purposes of this video, I spent a good 20 minutes trying over and over and over again to try and get this, but I personally couldn't do it. I have done it in videos in the past, but it's something that I don't know what the exact timing is. I spent a long time trying to do it, couldn't do it. Feel free to try it yourself and let me know if there's any specific trick to it. But again, this only works if it's an invisible ground rather than a solid, flat surface. There's special dialogue, or maybe more accurately, glitched dialogue, if you pick Super Saiyan God Goku versus Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Super Saiyan God Goku sounds like Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It's very weird. So with that said, do take a listen.
How about it, Kakarot? Now can you fight without holding anything back? You're amazing, Vegeta. Now let's fight.
Much like with Super Saiyan Kefla, first form Cell also has 2 different grabs. One of them is if you're in the air, and the other one is if you're on the ground. If you summon Shenron with the Dragon Balls and then wait, Shenron will get a little bit impatient with you, and there's a few lines that he says that I just think are out of character and just funny. So that said, have a listen.
What's the matter? Hurry up and wish. Wishes. Get your wishes here. Hello? Excuse me. I'm waiting for your wish. Waiting. I was created by the gods. As a result, I cannot grant any wish that would be beyond the power of a god.
The times 100 Big Bang Kamehameha ultimate attack has a sort of secret second function, and that is if you use it locked off, it will rotate, making it quite a surprise if your opponent doesn't know they can do that, and or if they are just not anticipating it. 24 hours before Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 was revealed, on the 16th of May 2016, there was a teaser revealed, the Fly Through Time project or teaser or whatever you want to call it. This had a 24-hour countdown timer, and once the countdown timer hit 0, they then officially revealed Xenoverse 2 with the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 reveal trailer. During the Fly Through Time countdown, Bandai Namco had revealed that there's a hint on this project page. Now, although I don't believe they ever came out and said what this hint was, I was actually, I think, the first person to find out that the hint was if you were to connect the 7 Dragon Balls and kind of play like a connect the dots with it, it would spell out XV, which was an obvious hint towards Xenoverse, and ultimately, because of that, well, at the time, it would have been Xenoverse 2, which, once again, would have been revealed once the timer hit 0. When you get max ki, your aura will flare up, which looks particularly cool if you are in, for example, the Super Saiyan Blue Awoken skill and you keep getting max ki over and over and over again. If you see someone in Conton City or in a lobby, whether it be a parallel quest, a ranked lobby, play match, endless raid, what have you, it doesn't matter. If their name is red rather than white, then this means that that player specifically is a mass rage quitter. They rage quit when they are about to lose or when they do actually lose, but because of how Xenoverse works, as of right now, it doesn't count it as a win or as a loss. It counts it as a no contest. Again, that's only if they have a red name rather than a white name. The TP Medal Store used to only be open on the weekends. Yes, really. I believe it used to be open from every Friday to Monday, and then it was shut for the rest of the week. I promise I am being serious here. This isn't a meme or a joke. And it's something that I actually forgot about. Now, I believe it was it was one of the very early DLCs, DLC 1 or 2, I believe. They then changed it so it's now open 24/7 with certain items constantly rotating throughout the TP Medal Store. You could also use to change your console's time to the weekends to trick it to opening, so it never really was truly shut. But yeah, I honestly can't believe... Why? Why would they think that was a good idea in the first place? The music that plays in Conton City will have less instruments playing depending on how far away you go from the city. Once again, take a listen. If you have a bald, sane custom character, avatar, CAC, whatever you want to call it, and then use Super Saiyan 3, you will get a full head of hair. Because, yeah, if you use an ultimate attack on your opponent, but you don't lock on to your opponent, they will not receive that sort of heads-up display alert on the side of the screen. Depending on the opponent, the situation, as well as the skill, for example, a great skill to use for this specific situation will be, again, for example, the Super Key Explosion ultimate attack. You can pretty much win a fight, basically, especially if you've just exited a clash. If you ever notice white mist around any character, either that being your custom character, your CAC, your avatar, or an original character, that white mist means that there is currently a Super Soul taking effect. With the exception of Ultra Instinct Goku, the only other character in Xenoverse 2 that has auto dodge is, unsurprisingly enough, Whis. But that's only in Parallel Quest 131. There's a few animations from Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 that were reused in Dragon Ball Legends. One of these being the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Awoken skill animation in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which is essentially the same as what they used for the Ultimate Gohan transformation animation in Dragon Ball Legends. You can recover stamina at a much faster rate if you're on a solid surface rather than if you were flying. Keep in mind, invisible grounds do not count. Wearing an accessory which has sunglasses doesn't actually protect you from blinding skills such as solar flare. Nappa, as a custom mentor, has the ability to turn Super Saiyan, but funnily enough, if you do turn Super Saiyan on custom Nappa, his toupee will disappear. It won't turn golden, it won't stay the same color, it will just flat out disappear. But funnily enough, his toupee will return if you then revert back to Nappa's base form. Janemba, as well as Fu, as well as technically Villainous mode Janemba, as well as custom Janemba, all have unique vanishes as opposed to the traditional teleport vanish. When you go and select to make a character, if you then back out of the selection, you may experience a unique animation, a sort of like foot stomp animation, which is nowhere else to be seen in the entire game. Using Hellstein Shock on Captain Ginyu will actually damage his battle armor, as you can see right here, and unfortunately this does not work if you use it on your custom character. Potential unleashed on Ultimate Gohan, or rather Adult Gohan, and potential unleashed for your custom character, although they are the same awoken skill, the same skill, they are technically just a little bit different from one another. On Gohan, well, the appearance is different from Gohan to your custom character, and the shading and lighting is different as well. You can get a completely neutral QQ bang if you mix together two of Yamcha's tops, the Yamcha gi, with no mixing item. If you do this, I mean, there's no point in doing this because it's just for the novelty. Like, it's not going to help you. It could maybe make things more challenging, so you maybe play better, maybe, I don't know. But if you do this, it won't take you many attempts, but keep in mind that there are other QQ bangs, like 1-star QQ bangs you can get from this if you decide to use this. Just keep trying it. The outfit is very cheap to buy in the clothing store. If you do it, fair play. There's no real reason to, apart from novelty. And yeah, that's how you make a neutral QQ bang. Speaking of QQ bangs, however, going back to an earlier fact in this video, if you have all 7 Dragon Balls that make a brand new character or talk to this character here in Conton City after defeating Raditz, instead of getting another Dragon Ball, you'll get a Hercule badge. But again, that's only if you have all 7 Dragon Balls. Final form mirror heavily resembles Super Saiyan 5 from the fan-made Dragon Ball AF manga. And the more I look at it, the more I think, yeah, the resemblance is rather uncanny. If you have super mixed capsules and spare demon realm crystals, you can mix them both together to get one Super Mix Capsule Z. Once you've defeated Raditz and can pick which character you want to appear as the Tokitoki hero, including your Xenoverse 1 characters if you performed a data transfer at the very start of your Xenoverse 2 save file, some of these characters are actually the winners from, I believe, the last Dragon Ball Xenoverse 1 World Tournament. The reward, I believe, I forget when they said it, but the reward was basically they will be added to a custom loading screen on PS4. I don't know about other consoles, which does look quite nice actually, and also to be part of the data transfer feature from Xenoverse 1 to Xenoverse 2, which in turn has immortalized them. Fair play. The playable model for Supreme Kai of Time has been significantly updated and is now more detailed compared to the non-playable model of the Supreme Kai of Time. This is widely speculated to be because of the fact that this was maybe planned for a third Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, but was ported over, I guess is the word, to Xenoverse 2 to continue with the updates. The official name for the Xenoverse 2 default hero is Me, spelt M-E. And the official name of the default Xenoverse 1 hero, the future warrior summoned by Shenron, his name, the official name, is Ace. And speaking of Skelters, your Skelter perspective will change colour depending on what colour of Skelter you're wearing, even including the golden Skelter. Kefla has 2 different grabs. These can be activated automatically if you're standing on the ground or if you're flying. Once you've cleared the very first mission by defeating Raditz, once you're then introduced to vehicles, there's actually a bit of an error here because it says that you can use a vehicle in the Time Nest, but again, at least as of right now, you can't use any vehicle of any kind or use your CC mascot in the Time Nest. So it was either that it was originally planned so you could use your vehicle in the Time Nest, which I really hope it was, or that it gets changed because it's a bit of a trek in there, or they're meant to say, well, I don't know, it's not even they could say the time vault, so it's either a mistake, a typo, or it was scrapped. If you go out on a time patrol in the Time Nest by interacting with the Time Rift right next to the partner customization robot, and then you click return to Time Nest, then restart the game, instead of then loading into Conton City directly, you'll then instead load directly into the Time Nest. If your timing is perfect when you play as Super Saiyan God Vegeta, you'll do increased damage and you'll get a different sound effect. Vados will appear in the Time Nest if you complete the Universe 6 versus Universe 7 Destroyer Tournament DLC. Before this, she's nowhere to be seen in the Time Nest, but if you get the DLC and complete that part of the story mode, Vados will be a permanent fixture in the Time Nest. For some reason, they hid her away. There's no explanation to this. But yeah, Vados will appear in the Time Nest if you get that DLC and complete it. If you don't have it, she will never appear in the Time Nest. You can actually throw Dragon Balls. If you go to a Pedal Quest where you have to go and collect the Dragon Balls and send them back to the Time Machine to complete that Pedal Quest, if you have either one Dragon Ball or if you're holding 2 Dragon Balls and then go for the grab input, you will throw them. There's a different animation depending on if you have 1 Dragon Ball or 2 Dragon Balls, and you can technically throw them at your opponents. Back in Xenoverse 1, you could actually destroy parts of the mountain stage, but for whatever reason, in Xenoverse 2, they made it so you couldn't do it, even if you go to the exact same position on the exact same parallel quest. Why this was removed is beyond me, because it was such a cool feature and you need to do it in Xenoverse 1 to get one of the Dragon Balls for one of the Dragon Ball parallel quests. Apart from being able to throw the Dragon Balls if you have them, you can also limit burst if you're holding them, either if you're holding one of them or if you're holding two. You can use the R3 input, and I'd assume it will just be whatever the right analog stick is on other consoles. But on PS4, PS5, and PC, I believe, if you click R3 on your controller, you can actually use the Dragon Radar to get a better perspective of where the Dragon Balls are. If you throw the Dragon Balls so they are close to each other, and I believe you have to make them so them very close to each other, they will slightly glow like how they do when they are close to each other in the series. You can no longer leave or kick someone from your lobby if it's a ranked lobby or a world tournament lobby. This was done to try and stop people from boosting the leaderboards, which it worked up until a certain point, but it is something that you still technically could do. If anything, it may just take a couple of extra minutes longer to do. Long story short, boosting in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is that you'll make a room and you'll battle someone, presumably yourself, on a different console to get the points to then boost up on the world leaderboards. Again, it's not really been fixed. It kind of has, but not really. And you just can't kick people once two people join, again, either a ranked room or a world tournament lobby. If you use the Photon Swpe super attack against the gigantic Ki Blast in a raid, it will automatically send the gigantic Ki Blast back. I would assume that this is a glitch, so this may change at some point in the future, but as of right now, with one Photon Swpe, and I think it may also work with other skills such as the Darkness Eye Beam, but I'm not entirely sure about that specifically. But again, using the Photon Swpe super attack against the gigantic Ki Blast when the beam struggle or the struggle, we have to try and send it back to the raid boss, happens in the online raids, it will, with just using it once, which takes 1 bar of ki to use, again, it will instantly send that gigantic Ki Blast back, and you'll get a lot of points and more than likely end up in first place. Android 21 has what is probably the most unique charged Ki Blast in all of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, which is this one right here. And the reason I say this is because, at least as of the upload, or rather the recording of this part right here, and this video in general, there is no way to have this on your custom character, like how you can change it to like a paralyzed Ki Blast, a charge Ki, or a barrage Ki Blast, rush Ki Blast, what you want to call it, a heavy. There's no superstar to do that, and there's no way, again, as of right now, to change it to this, and there's no other character and no other preset, again, as of right now, that will have this on their character. Despite beam clashes or beam struggles, whatever you want to call them, not currently in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, depending on which two attacks hit each other, you'll get effects that look like this. If you look carefully at the Xenoverse 2 title menu, in the XV, you can actually see the Tokitoki City hourglass, despite this not making an appearance in Xenoverse 2, with the exception of, I believe, just one mission in the Xenoverse 2 story mode, where you go back in time to just before Trunks summons Shenron, back in the original Xenoverse game. And speaking of the Xenoverse 2 title menu, because this is the second Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, there is a 2-star Dragon Ball on the title menu, and back in the original Xenoverse game, because it's naturally the first Dragon Ball Xenoverse game, there was a 1-star Dragon Ball. So hopefully if Xenoverse 3 happens, they'll continue this little bit of a tradition with the 3rd-star Dragon Ball. For whatever reason, Shining Slash and Burning Slash are only available to Saiyans and Earthlings. Don't know why. There's no sort of restrictions because it's just an animation, if that makes sense. Although there are other hybrid Saiyan skills that are available to anyone. For example, Burst Rush, for example, Besenko, for example, Heat Dome Attack. Female custom Saiyan characters will keep their eyebrows when they use Super Saiyan 3. Now, in all fairness, I want to say this may be was already a thing in Dragon Ball Heroes at the time, and technically as well Super Dragon Ball Heroes for female Saiyans. But yeah, just interesting how in Xenoverse 2, a female Saiyan will keep their eyebrows, unlike a male Saiyan if they use Super Saiyan 3. In the free update, which accompanied Legendary Pack 1 for Xenoverse 2, a new character was added to Conton City named Stylist, or rather the Stylist. Now, this is someone you go to change like your hair and stuff like that for, I believe, 10 TP medals. Now, keep in mind, apparently in Xenoverse 1, in the files, there is something called Barber, like a barber to presumably change your hair instead of having to get the Dragon Balls, then summon Shenron each and every single time. But this naturally in Xenoverse 1 was never added. But something very similar, again known as the Stylist, was added to a fairly late update to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Conton City, the overworld, the hub world, we're going to call it, for Xenoverse 2 is technically Tokitoki City, the overworld, hub world, again, we want to call it, for the original Dragon Ball Xenoverse game. The reason why it changed, and I believe this is in the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 manga, is because of these the time rifts in Xenoverse 2. Apparently there was loads of those appearing and the city couldn't be contained, so I believe there was Supreme Kai time with, I think, maybe Elder Kai. They then expanded it into what is now known as Conton City. If you're a Majin custom character, there will be more Majins at Majin Buu's house at the Majin Buu time rift. How many times did I say Majin Buu? Feel free to count. There'll be more Majins there if you're a Majin character, as opposed to if you're a Saiyan character, an Earthling, a Frieza race, and a Namekian. Artwork number 1 is a reference to the iconic Goku versus Frieza pose in Dragon Ball Z, only in Xenoverse 2, played out by Supreme Kai of Time and Zeno Trunks. Despite being able to make a pure blood Saiyan custom character, for some reason, whenever you turn Super Saiyan, your hair doesn't spike up, with the exception of Super Saiyan 3, and that's just a completely different hair model anyway. But for any of the other transformations, or Super Saiyan transformations, as of right now, whenever you transform into any of those Super Saiyan forms, your hair just changes colour, and the appearance outside of the colour doesn't change at all. Tien has a Super Soul, which is also available for your custom characters in Xenoverse 2, which completely nullifies damage from any Kamehameha skill. Although do keep in mind, this does not include the Breaker Energy Wave, which technically is also known as the Angry Kamehameha. Before it was revealed to be called Xenoverse, what we now know as Dragon Ball Xenoverse was first known as Dragon Ball Z Project 2014. And a few bonus facts for you here relating to this. It wasn't revealed to be Xenoverse until that year's E3, so E3 2014, when they revealed the official trailer and called it Dragon Ball Xenoverse. And also, once again, a bit of a bonus fact for you here, because of, again, mistranslations, rumors, mishearing things and stuff like that, before it was called Xenoverse, for like maybe an hour, maybe a couple of hours, or maybe just for like under an hour, around like that sort of time frame, I guess, before the trailer was officially revealed, we thought, oh, it's either going to be called Xenoverse, or again, because of mistranslations and mishearing things and stuff like that, it was either going to be called Xenoverse or Xenobirth. Not Zeno as in Grand Zeno, because he wasn't even introduced yet, just like Xenobirth, Xenoverse. Do you get it?